Hey everybody, Don Martelli back at you with the PR Bunker today, talking to Ted Tye, who's the managing partner of National Development, talking all things real estate, which in Boston is a very, very hot topic. You see a lot of cranes in the sky, which means things are getting built, and Ted and his crew there at National Development are usually in the center of all this stuff, so stay tuned. Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me on the PR Bunker podcast here today. Excited to talk to Ted Tye of National Development about all the great work he's doing in the real estate game and the future of his business and just how things are going generally in real estate in Boston and elsewhere. Ted, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Don. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me. I'd love to have you describe just briefly your background and how what you're doing now at National Development.
Great. Well, my background's not all that exciting. I grew up in Haverhill, went to school at Tufts and then at Harvard Business School, and I have been basically at National Development ever since. I'm one of the founding partners and started over 30 years ago.
I'm sure the real estate game has changed, but also been the same in over 30 years. What's that been like for you? What's that journey like?
Yeah, it's, I think being successful in real estate is kind of all about adapting and maybe being able to see a little bit around the corner when others can't. But it has changed. It always changes. And I don't ever remember everything changing all at once like it's done over the last 12 months or so. The effects of COVID have been just unbelievable in our business. And I think, we're all trying to see where things go next.
Sure. What's the current focus of the firm? What can you share with the audience in terms of what you're looking for and what's next in terms of opportunities?
Sure. Well, our focus, unlike many firms, has always been broad. So in terms of the way we've structured the company, while we have the name National Development, we're neither national nor just a development company. We do have obviously a large development group, and we also manage property throughout Eastern Massachusetts. And we are an investment firm. We're an investment management firm that has currently raised its fourth fund and currently investing it. And we also own a construction affiliate, Cranshaw Construction, which is one of the largest contractors in Boston. So we are involved in a lot of different areas. And then from a product type perspective, it ranges from residential to senior housing to retail to a ton of life science that we're doing these days, office, and kind of everything in between. A lot of hotels recently. We have always had the philosophy that when something is down, something else is up. And then as the world has migrated towards the mixing of uses within projects, it's really played to our strengths because we've been able to combine several different product types.
I remember when I first joined the firm, I was learning about our work in public affairs and heard about this little project in Linfield. And I said, what's this all about? And, lo and behold, every time my family wants to go out for dinner and have a good time and shop, we're at Market Street in Linfield. And I think about you, I think about the work that you all did there and the amount of dollars I've spent in that place over the years, whether it's a $30 Starbucks run or it's going to a restaurant. But it's I think those kind of projects, one, are exciting for us because it's they're new, they're different. And fast forward to today, it's all, you see that mixed use term being thrown around. And I love the broadness of what you do, because it seems to me that you're looking for opportunities for smart development, and that may differ per community.
Yeah, if there's a common theme in some of the more interesting projects we've done over the last 10 or so years, it's been that we've just tried to remake places. And, Linfield is a great example of that. That was a country club that was in trouble, a conference center that was closed, and we remade it into a village
Mm,
basically, that includes residential and retail, and created a lot of energy and activity in that area.
mm,
The other one people think about with not one of the other ones people think about with us is Ink Block,
mm-hmm,
which was the former Boston Herald site, as decrepit a block as you could find in the
mm-hmm.
city of Boston.
Very true.
And we are now completing our seventh building there, and it's as vibrant a location as anything you'd find in the city.
Yeah, I remember when I was a reporter for the Globe, I'd have to run the first edition's paper off the press to the Herald and pick up a bundle of Heralds to see what we missed, and then cover things in the back pages, which was interesting. So I that you're right, that block was dilapidated for years, but it's unbelievable how that feels like its own little community these days. And I think your point about placemaking is one that is not many people talk about, but that's exactly what you do. You have a vision and you create something where there wasn't before.
Well, we created this story around what this place called Ink Block would be,
Mm,
and then actually developed it. And it is very cool to see, over a relatively short period of time, how that
sure.
comes together. And, I always say that the true test was I jump in a taxi or an Uber in Boston and they say, take me to Ink Block. They actually know where they're going.
There
So
you go.
then
Brand awareness.
you've created a place.
Beautiful. I think another part of this work, from our perspective, is the storytelling, right? Because you're oftentimes selling a vision into a community. How has, as you're looking at opportunities and projects down the line in the recent months or what have you, how has that community engagement process changed or been the same over the years? Now that with this technology and the restrictions, what's that community engagement process like for you guys these days?
Yeah, it is. That's something that's changed a lot over my career. I mean, we used to go in and literally knock on doors,
Mm,
um, or sometimes call people on the telephone that
sure.
used to sit in their house.
Imagine.
Um, but the meetings were all very personal,
Sure.
and that's where information generally was conveyed. Sometimes you'd hand people a piece of paper.
Mm,
I'd say probably the first wave of change has just been social media.
mm,
And it can be really, really difficult for a developer to manage information in this environment, because all you need is one person in a neighborhood who might oppose you or
hmm.
might enjoy getting on the soapbox, and they can put anything out on social media that they like. And of course, if it's on social media, it must be true.
True.
It's got to be true, right?
Hmm.
That to me has probably been the biggest change I've seen over my career, is the power of of social media and the
Hmm.
change in communication. And of course, the national politics in the
Sure.
last presidential election, we saw it at a much larger scale
Hmm.
how all that comes into play,
Hmm.
which is really dangerous. The I think the other thing we've seen is what's happened over the last year in COVID. And so what's happened is we've gone from having those meetings in the packed hall, um, where everybody's sweating and cheering and jumping up and down,
Hmm.
to actually having those same meetings on Zoom or other
Mm,
platforms. Um, and I think the first concern was that it would limit public participation. And I was talking to somebody at the BPDA this week and said, actually, it may have increased public
I'd
participation,
agree. I'd agree.
because, now you can sit at home, you can have dinner with your family, and then you can walk to the other room and open your laptop and you can be at the meeting.
Hmm.
So I think that is going to change, and that will hopefully stick with us a little bit post
Hmm.
COVID. I mean, I have to admit, from a developer perspective, I mean, I've had 4 or 5 hour meetings where you're on in the fourth hour,
Hmm.
and rather than sitting in the room for the evening, I can
Hmm.
multitask from my computer at home and
Hmm.
keep an eye on the Zoom meeting, and then
Hmm.
just jump in when it's my turn.
Hmm. Yeah, I think
That's not so bad.
not at all. Accessibility is key. All right, because oftentimes I remember with the Market Street project, it's a numbers game. You need to get, a good deal of people in the town hall to make sure there was an even conversation. And sometimes people just don't, as you said, don't have the time to spend 4 hours getting in a car, going to the auditorium, spending there. Now that we have accessibility, it's sort of it's a love-hate thing where now we have this technology and it's about refinement. And eventually when we can do both, will towns allow town meeting members, for example, to both either be there in person or be there virtually? And does that vote count? And I think the rub is always, well, we didn't hear about this project in the past. Well, there's so many channels at our disposal these days to communicate a public meeting, right? And have people be part of those conversations that there's really a chance where, people should be able to hear about it and not have that excuse that they couldn't. So just pivoting real quick, I know we're up against time here, but thinking about the national development story, what's next for you guys? What's coming down the pipe that you can share?
Yeah, we actually have a lot of interesting projects right now in our pipeline. Our concentration is obviously in the city, but we do work outside of the area. So as I mentioned, we're working on the 7th building at Ink Block, which is called 7
Wow.
Ink, which is Boston's first large-scale co-living building. So that's a 14-story building that we'll be delivering about a year from now. We are in the South Boston neighborhood, near kind of between Broadway and Andrew, and have acquired a good amount of land there, and looking to kind of make that the next Ink Block or transformational project in the city. We've started out by starting to transform what's known as the Cole Hersey building, taking an old industrial building, and we have Tate going in. We've got a bespoke spin studio there. We have Castle Island Breweries doing a terrific new spot there, and several others. So it's starting to that process of creating energy in the area, and ultimately will be a larger development. We're working on several life science projects at the moment. What was intended to be GE's headquarters at 15 Necco Street will soon be under construction in the Fort Point area. The WBZ site in Alston, where we plan a 3-building project in addition to a new studio for WBZ.
Great.
The Mount Auburn Club in Watertown we acquired, and we're working with our partners Alexandria on a life science project there. We've also kept really busy on the senior housing front, which has been a big area for us, and we have projects underway right now in White Plains, New York, and Stamford, Connecticut, and Lexington, Massachusetts. So those and some more that we're working on should hopefully keep us pretty busy. Another very prominent one I should have mentioned is the Midtown Hotel in the Prudential area that we're working on.
Right down the street from Northeastern.
Yes, exactly.
So it's relatively quiet in your world.
Thank goodness for Zoom. It's kept us going. And I think like most people, we're looking forward to getting back in the office and getting a little chemistry and a little collaboration going that's been sometimes difficult on Zoom.
Agreed.
We've managed to get through this year pretty well.
Agreed. Yeah, I think there is a very heavy dose of peopleism in your business, right? Connecting with people and telling that story and having those community meetings and having 3 or 4 cups of bad coffee just to communicate to an audience of a project. But love to see continued success with your group, and looking from afar in terms of all the great places you're creating. But in the meantime, if people want to learn more about your firm and your background, where can they find you?
Yeah, easiest way is our website, which is natdev, as in nationaldevelopment.com. They find me there, or my Twitter account is TieGuy 44 at TieGuy 44. Sorry.
There you go. Hit him up on Twitter. I love it. And if you talk to yourself 20 years ago, you'd have no idea what Twitter was. So here you are using it as a channel. It's good stuff. Changing with the times. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, Ted, thanks you for the time. I appreciate it. And thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Don. Good to talk to you.
Thanks for tuning in to the PR Bunker podcast. If you want more episodes, you can find them on any streaming service you typically get podcasts from, Apple, Spotify, Google. You can also visit theprbunker.com. In the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. You can always hit me up at donmartelli@gmail.com or on socials at Big Guy D across Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., etc. And until the meantime, this is Don Martelli reporting live from the PR Bunker. Later.